Hi friends, this is Deepika Sharma again before you to present our further understanding of FEMA 1999. So before proceeding further to what all are the powers granted to central government and the RBI, we first of all just give a small recap to what we did in the last class. So in the last class, we understood that how FEMA 1999 was enacted by the government, what was the flaws in FERA, and what was a actual drawback, like the mens rea, the concept of mens rea, to inculcate in that particular transaction, so that to make any person liable for contravention under FERA. Then we understood that how the RBI constituted committee, Tarapur committee, to understand the changes required under the FERA, and then eventually that how FEMA Act enacted. So today we are going to understand that the Finance Act, which led to the severe or the important changes under FEMA 1999, and important shift in the power between, or we can also say the reshuffling of power between the central government and the RBI. So over the year, India was facing a regulatory overlap when it come to the regulation and governance of foreign investment in India. While RBI of India, RBI, was a regulatory body to come up with the regulation and rule pertaining to issue or transfer of securities. So, securities may be the equity shares or compulsory convertible preference shares or compulsory convertible debenture. The central government, that the Ministry of Finance, was still in charge of framing policy for foreign direct investment in the form of the FDI policy. So, on one hand, the RBI is regulating the particular transaction dealing in equity share, and then the Ministry of Finance is also in charge of drafting the FDI policy. So, this bifurcation of power was often molded in instances where the FDI policy notified by the government was incorporated by RBI in their current foreign exchange regulation, mainly through master direction. So, I will definitely take a separate class to explain that what is the difference between the master direction, then the notification, then the circular issued by RBI, and what all are the implication on of these kind of master direction, circular, or the notification. So that's a part of different video. So let's just move further. However, there was an instance of gap and omission in incorporating and implementing foreign direct investment policy into the foreign exchange regulation. So, uh, particularly when RBI is coming out with the regulation and then the master direction, and then the Ministry of Finance coming out with the FDI policy, definitely the RBI would always try to incorporate all the changes in FDI policy in these kind of regulation, the regulation enacted by RBI and then the master direction. However, still there were certain gaps which was found in these kind of regulations and the master direction. So this regulatory overlap has been highlighted in various reports, including report of Committee on Financial Sector Reform, a 100 small step issued by Government of India in year 2008. Subsequently, the Finance Act 2015 proposed certain amendment to Foreign Exchange Management Act 1999 to plug these loopholes. So, government, by virtue of enacting the Finance Act 2015, bring certain kind of amendment under the FEMA Act, which try to the plug out the deficiencies. Okay, so now some people may think that why Finance Act brought some amendment in FEMA Act. So let me just briefly tell you that the Finance Act 2015 or any Finance Act incorporate all the changes to be incorporated in other kind of laws dealing with finance sector. So whatever the amendment required to be made in FEMA Act, definitely that would be incorporated under Finance Act 2015. Okay, so towards the fall of 2019, India witnessed revamping of foreign exchange management risk. So there was various changes which were incorporated under FEMA Act. So the year 2019 was one of the important year for those who are understanding, or those who are trying to incorporate certain understanding of FEMA. So 2019, on 15th October, the Ministry of Finance, Government of India, notified Section 139, 143 and 144 of the Finance Act 2015, which proposed the amendment to Section 6, which deals with capital account transaction, Section 46, power of central government to make rules, and Section 47, power of RBI to make regulation under FEMA. So, pursuant to these amendment, RBI to specify in consultation with central government any class or classes of capital account transaction involving debt instrument which are permissible and to make regulation thereunder. Secondly, the central government were to prescribe in consultation with RBI the classes of capital account transaction not involving debt instrument. So basically, I assume that most of the people are aware about the debt instrument and the non-debt instrument. So debt instruments are those which are created by borrowing by the company, and the non-debt instrument are equity nature. So these amendments result in bifurcation of power between the RBI and central government. Now, pursuant to the said amendment, the RBI, in consultation with central government, is assigned the responsibility of drafting regulation dealing with debt instrument, whereas the central government was assigned with the duty of drafting the rules dealing with the non-debt instrument. So subsequently, the Ministry of Finance on 16th October 2019 issued notification notifying instrument which fall under the category of non-debt instrument and debt instrument. So there was a separate notification issued by the government on this particular definition, what constitute the debt instrument and what not constitute the debt instrument, and what constitute the non-debt instruments. So additionally, the Ministry of Finance by its notification dated 17th October 2019 also notified foreign exchange management non-debt instrument rules, which is briefly specified as NDI rules. The NDI rules were issued in supersession of foreign exchange management transfer or issue of security by person resident outside India 2015, shortly known as TISPRO. So this TISPRO was enacted by RBI 2017, wherein which contain entire rules and regulation dealing with the debt, the non-debt instrument, the equity instrument. However, there is a subsequent shift of power from RBI to central government. So therefore, the central government issued this rules known as NDI rules. So NDI rules were issued in supersession of TISPRO only. Okay, and then second. Regulation which also superseded by this particular NDI rules include foreign exchange management, acquisition and transfer of immovable property in India regulation 2018. So the two regulation was superseded by this NDI rules, which include one is the TISPRO regulations and second is the regulation on acquisition and transfer of immovable property in India. Okay, so I'll definitely taking other class on this immovable property acquisition by person resident outside India or the provision dealing therewith. So NDI rules were further amended by Ministry of Finance via this notification dated 2019 5th December by notifying certain amendment in the non-debt instrument regulation. Okay, so consequent to notification of this particular rules 2019 by central government, the RBI also came to notified the procedure dealing with non-debt instrument rule. Okay, because anyhow the RBI is the main governing body of the forex, so definitely nobody can take away the power of giving out the procedure dealing with this non-debt instrument. So the RBI via this notification dated 17th October 2019 notified foreign exchange management mode of payment and reporting of non-debt instrument regulation 2019, which incorporate entire gamut of procedure which has to be carried by a person whosoever investing in India, and definitely the company which is an Indian company, which is an investee company, would require to follow, for which include filing of form, the FCGPR, then allotment of equity shares. So I will be taking other class of telling you that how these kind of provision has contained under 2019 regulation issued by RBI. So I have just explained you the debt instrument and non-debt instrument and then the power of issuing kind of regulation by the RBI and the rules by the central government. Then when we just come to what all are the non-debt instruments, so non-debt instrument as a name suggests are the instrument which are not the debt instruments. So all investment in equity of the company incorporated in India, whether it a public company, a private company, or listed unlisted company. So whatsoever the nature of the Indian company, issuing equity to the person resident outside India would come under definition of non-debt instruments. Then the capital participation in LLP, definitely there were certain restriction on the investment in LLP by the person resident outside India. But over the period of time, as a policy liberalized by the government, so the investment in LLP is also authorized, and definitely we don't have the equity share in LLP. So therefore, there is a concept of capital participation. So instrument of investment as in FDI policy. So I just told you that the Ministry of Finance, DPIIT, issue the FDI policy. So that also incorporate the rules governing the foreign investment in India. Then the investment in unit of alternative investment fund, real estate investment trust, infrastructure investment trust, investment in unit of mutual fund and exchange traded fund which invest more than 50% in equity. So junior most layer, the equity tranche of securitization structure, acquisition, sale or dealing directly in immovable property, contribution to trust, depository received issued against any equity instrument. So these are the kind of debt, non-debt instrument. Now coming to debt instrument means all instrument other than the non-debt instrument stated above. So that instrument include all those instruments which create the liability on the company. And then there is a definition of hybrid security also there in the non-debt rules. Hybrid security means an instrument such as optionally or partially convertible preference shares or the debenture and other instrument as specified the central government from time to time, which can be issued by Indian company or trust to a person resident outside India. So these are neither the non-debt instrument nor the debt instrument, but are the hybrid securities. So there are other part of regulations and the compliances which need to be adhered by the company coming out with a hybrid security. So this is all for today's class. I hope you understood what I tried to explain you in this class. Thank you for listening to me again. I will definitely be sharing with you the other provision of FEMA and to explain you the entire the structure of forex law in India. Thank you so much for your time. Please like and subscribe to my video. Thank you so much.